Oh, oh, hi. Oh, happy springtime. Oh, just got in from doing a little, spring yard work. It's it's not really very spring-like out in a lot of places. It's snowing here in New York today, and I saw on the internet there that it's about 34 degrees in London, and the springtime thing doesn't seem to be catching on the way it should. You know, we went through this Piscean time where we had 5 planets in Pisces plus sometimes the moon, and we felt that Piscean energy through the late winter. We felt this sort of heaviness, this sort of sleepiness. Boy, how many people are complaining like, all I'm doing is sleeping? So many of us were spending a lot of time snoozing, a lot of time sort of, inwards, going in, feeling something sort of brewing. And then the planets started to move into Aries, and we started to get these sort of hot aspects and so on. And we feel things are moving. We really do feel things are moving. You can sense that things are moving. Things are changing up there. Up there, things are changing. All the planets have gone into Aries, or most of them have gone into Aries, and all kinds of things are happening. We have Mars squaring Pluto. We have Mars conjuncting Uranus last week. We have the Libra full moon. Good gosh, it certainly seems like a lot of stuff is happening. And yet we have these really, really long moon voids. And in a way, I kind of feel that these long moon voids are sort of dragging out that Piscean feeling, that they're sort of extending it beyond where we really wanted it to be. It's just like the springtime that really isn't here. It's like the springtime that is cold and snowing. And by the way, it seems to me that in the wintertime, when it's 34 degrees, it rains. But now in the springtime, it's 36 degrees and it's snowing out there. I don't understand that, but that's an aside. Anyways, it's like that Piscean time is being extended by these extraordinarily long moon voids. We feel the energy shifting on one level, but we can't exactly translate it down where we want it to be right now. We can't get it into our lives. Or we feel that there is change. We do feel that our lives are moving, and yet at the same time, it's also true that we don't feel that we have much control. It's almost as though we started that ball rolling some time ago, and now it's picking up momentum. It's like a snowball, kind of like a snowball anyway, rolling downhill. It's just you're not going to stop it, but you don't have control over it either. It's just picking up more and more snow, more and more momentum, but you don't have much control over it. That's kind of the sense that we have as we come into this Libra full moon. Now, there are a few things we can say about this. We can say that, you know, we started to wake up as soon as planets started to go into Aries. As soon as Mercury went direct on the 17th, we started to feel that things were going to start to move forward. And yet, sort of like it's like when you're waking up and the alarm clock goes off, and then you say to yourself, oh, a few more minutes, and you sort of get pushed down to sleep. And then, a couple minutes later, you sort of wake, oh, I really should get up. And then all of a sudden, this full moon comes up, and it's like, here we are. All of a sudden, it's like midday. And you think, wow, what have I really done? What have I managed to get going? And I think part of what we have to understand about this is that we went through this really deeply Piscean season, and we don't just emerge out of that all at once. This very inward, searching, spiritual, what is my purpose? What am I doing? What goes beyond myself and what I would like to do? We can't just switch over to Aries like that. If we look at the planetary aspects, we might think that that's what's going to happen. But we can't do that. We can't change that fast. We wouldn't be able to incorporate things. And these long moon voids are helping us to incorporate all of the changes that we see coming, all of the changes that are kind of on the way already. Now, the Libra full moon. Well, the Libra full moon is a little bit about self and the other person in relationship. It's a little bit about the sort of balance between myself and the other person, my partner, relationship. Any astrologer can give you that. So, you can go find that someplace else. The thing is this. The Aries, the sun in Aries, that Aries energy is very much about each of us and what we have to do for ourselves, where we need to push ourselves into the world. We know maybe sometimes where we want to push ourselves in the world, but we don't really need to. Maybe sometimes a little bit of selfishness, sometimes a little bit of creative selfishness. Sometimes it's about me, the ego. Sometimes it's about me coming from a deeper self, deeper soul place. That's what this moon is helping us to sort out, because Libra, yeah, it's about the partner, but Libra is about the other person in general. It's about the rules. It's about, it's about etiquette, we say, but it's about the rules. It's about what we're sort of expected to do in a social sense. And so what happens is the Aries energy, the energy of self, whether it is selfish or selfless or any place in between, gets reflected back by the moon, and you get a little bit of a test. You get a little bit of a, are you really doing this because you need to do this? Are you really doing this because at a deep level this is what you're supposed to be doing? Or are you just kind of stomping around like a selfish guy or woman, whoever's selfish? So the whole question here is one of a test. Now, considering all the moon voids, considering the fact that we haven't necessarily got all that much traction, we probably don't have that much to show for it externally. Internally, however, we have been feeling the changes. We have been getting ourselves in line. We have been making decisions, and we've managed to get some of that externalized. I don't think it's been a particularly quiet time, but we may not feel quite as much on track as we'd like. And this is the last little checkpoint. And it's very much likely to be a tipping point. It's very much likely that it's Libra's the scales. And here's where we're liable to find that there is more on one side than the other. I kind of hope that that's the case, because balance, balance is nice. Libra likes balance, but balance keeps you in the same spot. What you need is a little bit more selfishness. Yeah, I'm doing what I got to do, so I'm breaking some rules. I'm not making everybody else happy. I'm maybe making myself, maybe my super ego is getting a little bit jostled, but I got to do this. Or maybe the other side of the scale gets a little heavier. Ooh, it turns out I really ought to be considering others. I really am just being a little bit of a selfish person. There's a little bit of a jerky time for me. So that's what this moon is doing for us. It's giving us that test. Now, the moon is going to be followed by more voids. So, do we get the green light at some point in time? At some point in time, is it just going to be easy to go forward? I don't think easy is the word. I think that there'll be more direct energy after the new moon, after the Aries new moon. I think it'll be a little bit easier. But actually, I think that it's important to recognize that despite the fact that it's snowing in springtime and so on, we are already moving forward. We're being guided to take it a little bit slower than we might otherwise be inclined to. But I think we're going to look back on it and say that it's otherwise not such a bad thing. By the way, I made this video with the moon void, of course. It's the first time I've done that. I wanted to pick a good time, but the moon was always void, so I really couldn't do it when the moon wasn't void. And, they say that when the moon is void, of course, that when you do something, nothing will come of it. And then I realized I don't really want anything to come of it. It's just a video about this week's astrology and the Libra full moon. We don't have anything come of it. And they say it won't turn out as planned. And I got them on that one, too. I didn't plan anything.